Hey Simmons Middle School! I'm Katie Jane.
I'm Annabeth.
I'm Wendy, and we're here to tell you about these great books. You better come to the library and check them out. Yeah.
This is Catching a Storyfish by Janice N. Harrington. Now this is about a girl named Keet Keet. Everyone calls her Keet Keet Parakeet because she loves to talk. She talks. She especially loves to talk to her grandfather. But she's been a little bit silent lately because she's leaving her hometown in the great state of Alabama and she's moving up north. Whenever she opens her mouth there, people call her Bama Mouth. And pretty soon she's not talking to any of them. And then her grandfather, something serious happens to him and he can't talk to her anymore. Who's someone who's known for being a talker really survive a world of silence? Find out with Catching a Storyfish by Janice N. Harrington.
So this book is called This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab, and it's a newer dystopian title about this big city that has been torn into after this apocalypse type thing happens. And you kind of find more about it when you read it. But so the city's torn in two, and on one half there is a guy who rules, and he's very cruel, and he has these monsters out on these leashes, and it's terrible, but he gets money from people because he protects them. But he is a super bad guy. He's kind of like a gangster, and he has one daughter named Kate, and Kate is so desperate to make her father proud of her that she's willing to do anything, including kill, lie, steal, to make him happy. And so on the other side, though, it's ruled by another guy who is very nice and kind and is totally opposite from the other side of the city, and he has a son named August. And the thing about August is he's actually one of the monsters. He has the ability to steal somebody's soul with a song. Now, it's kind of cool, sounds cool, but he hates it. All he wants to do is be normal and have a normal life and be kind to people, but he's unable to because he has this need to feed. And so these two teenagers end up at the same school, and something really terrible happens, and they have to work together. But you'll have to see what happens when you read This Savage Song.
This is Shadow Queen by C.J. Redwine. After exposing her wicked stepmother for corrupting her father and the kingdom of Ravenspire with magic, Lorelai is forced to flee with her brother and loyal guard while she is still a child. Her father does not survive the encounter, and her magic isn't strong enough to take on the queen. Meanwhile, in another kingdom, Prince Cole, both his parents and older brother have perished, and he has been taken the throne. And unfortunately, his kingdom is overrun by ogres. And Cole has no magic for himself to kill and get rid of the ogres, so he decides to go to Ravenspire to see Queen Irina to get her magic to help him kill the ogres. Well, Queen Irina is not a nice person, as you can imagine. So she corrupts Cole into going after Lorelai to kill her for her own gain. So there's a lot of just, crazy magic going on and people being mean to each other. But of course, Cole and Lorelai see each other across a crowded room, and it sparks magic romance. So you have romance, danger, there's some dragons thrown in. It's a lot of fun. This is The Shadow Queen by C.J. Redwine, which is also a slight retelling of Snow White for those fairy tale fans.
We recently had a commemoration of a major event back in December. Do you know what happened? December 7th? Yes, bombing of Pearl Harbor, 1941. Well, this book is everything that happened afterwards. It is called Dive, World War II Stories of Sailors and Submarines in the Pacific. This is the story of all the brave sailors and submariners that fought against the Japanese after the bombing of Pearl Harbor. The great and terrible thing about this book is that you get super involved with their lives, and you never know until the very end whether they made it. Did they get out of their submarines, or did they sink to the bottom of the ocean? Find out, get the inside scoop, get in depth with Dive, World War II Stories of Sailors and Submarines in the Pacific, by the super amazing Deborah Hopkinson.
So this next book is called The Gilded Cage by Lucinda Gray, and it's set kind of in two separate places. So these two siblings, a brother and a sister, are living on a farm in Virginia in the 1800s when they unexpectedly find out that they are very, very wealthy. They've come into this fortune from some relatives that they did not even know that they had, but the thing is, these relatives lived in England, so they have to move across the pond, and they kind of start these new lives in England in the 1800s. But it's not so easy because they're not only new, but they are unaccustomed to the ways of living and the ways of being wealthy too. So they end up kind of having a hard time adjusting, but things get even worse when the main girl, her name is Catherine, her brother is found dead, and like really bad. It's not nice. So her brother ends up dead, and she tries to figure out who killed him because she's like, we weren't even living here that long. Who could have been our enemies? And so she tries to investigate on her own to figure out who killed her brother, but it turns out that there's somebody out there who doesn't want Catherine digging. And so she is kind of in danger herself, but you gotta find out what happens when you read The Gilded Cage.
You're just fine.
This is Not If I See You First by Eric Lindstrom. Parker has rules. One is don't talk extra loud to me because I'm not deaf. Number 2, don't touch me without asking or warning me because I can't see it coming. Parker lost her eyesight in a terrible accident that also took her mother. She also recently has just lost her father, and her boyfriend from junior high that treated her badly just transferred into her high school. Parker's got all sorts of emotions going on. She likes to be confrontational, she's sarcastic, but one of the things she does is strongly independent is she runs. She gets up in the morning and she runs by herself, even though she can't see. And she counts steps when she runs, so she knows how far to go and to come back. And it's fascinating to hear Parker running. This is some of the stuff she does, but one day Parker has a breakdown because all this emotion is coming out. And Parker must learn that sometimes rules are meant to be broken. This is Not If I See You First by Eric Lindstrom.
This book, Finding Wonders by Janine Atkins, is actually 3 books in one. Each book focuses on a girl who was raised in a time when science was considered only for men. And the girls weren't supposed to be interested in science or really interested in anything outside of the home. But these 3 girls, all with variations of the name Mary, were interested in the world around them. One was obsessed with caterpillars, one with rocks and dirt, and one with the stars in the sky. And they did not give up. They were encouraged by their family, and they went against their norms in their society to prove that science is for everyone. One girl, she discovered that caterpillars, they actually turn into butterflies, not known before her time. One girl watched the skies for 17 years and discovered a brand new comet. And one girl was the first to find an ichthyosaur skeleton, proving that there were dinosaur fish in her part of the world. Maybe once you find out what happens in Finding Wonders, maybe you'll get out and explore something. Who knows what you will find? Finding Wonders by Janine Atkins.
So this next book is called The Forbidden Wish by Jessica Corey, and it's really cool because it's actually a retelling of Aladdin, but it's so different from the Aladdin that we know. So when Aladdin comes and finds the magical lamp, he rubs it, but it's not the big blue genie that we think of coming out of it. It's actually a girl. What? So this girl comes out and she's had a past. She's been locked in this lamp for centuries. Not only is she really sick of being in the lamp, she is excited for a chance for her freedom. And she gets that chance for her freedom when the king of the genies gives her a chance to redeem herself after some past mistakes. Now, this is all well and good. She's agreed to do whatever it takes to gain her freedom, but will she do what it takes when that puts Aladdin in danger? Because, unfortunately, of course, she started to fall in love with him. But is this the typical love story that you think? It's kind of weird. It's not how it happened in the movie, but that is how it happens in this book, The Forbidden Wish.
This is the best book in this whole list of books. Not really, they're all great. But this is if the best part of the Old West and the coolest parts of the Arabian Nights got together, had a baby, and rebelled, and then what you got was steampunk and this awesome book. Yeah, that was kind of confusing, but that's okay. Amani wants to be out of her wretched life in the desert, where she's under the thumb of her evil aunt and uncle. She decides to dress like a boy and enter a sharpshooter contest, because she's really good at shooting, just to get enough prize money to escape. things completely fall apart. And there's explosions, armies, horses that emerge from the sand, and jinn who are all being murdered, all figured into this plot, along with this juicy detail about Amani's true identity that you have to read just to find out. And on top of it, amidst high sand and crazy desert, Amani meets this fugitive named Jen, who's super cute, by the way, and he just throws off her course and plans completely. But Amani soon begins to learn that she's got to trust people and trust what she knows about the desert. And this is full with action, magic, crazy characters that's going to leave you begging for more. And good thing, because the sequel comes out in May. This is Rebel of the Saints.
All right, this book was a Newbery Honor this year and by the amazing Adam Gidwitz. I just love everything he's done. It is called The Inquisitor's Tale. It is set way back during the Inquisition, in a time in England where the church and the government were basically the same thing. And during that time, there were 3 children on the run. They didn't know each other. They had nothing in common except that the church and the government had decided that they should be caught. One of them was a girl who every day went to the graveside of her dead dog. And one day when she went, the dog was sitting on top, wagging its tail and answering to its name. She thought it was a miracle. The church thought it was evil magic. There's a boy. He's lived his whole life training to be a monk. He illuminates all the ancient manuscripts. One day when he's going through the forest, he's attacked by thieves. To protect himself, he rips the leg off a donkey, ha, 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 and uses it as a weapon. It saves his life. He thinks it's a miracle, especially when he puts the leg right back on the donkey and the donkey is fine. The church thinks it's evil magic. And then there's a boy who did the worst thing of all. He's Jewish. Not only is he Jewish in a land where Jews are not welcome, but he also has amazing healing abilities. A little bit of tea, a little bit of herbs, and the people are fine. He thinks it's a miracle. The church thinks it's evil magic. These 3 kids who don't know each other, they're all on the run from the same people, and pretty soon their stories intersect. And then they have to figure out, what are they going to do to work together to prove that they are innocent and prove that what they have done is really a miracle and not evil magic. Find out when you read Adam Gidwitz, The Inquisitor's Tale, or The 3 Magical Children and Their Holy Dog.
So this next book is called The Forbidden Orchid by Sharon Biggs Waller. Now the story starts in England where there's a girl named Elodie who is the eldest of 10 girls. Can you imagine? 10 girls. So she's the oldest sister and she has this need to take care of her whole family for lots of different reasons, but also because none of them really know a whole lot about their father. They've only seen him a couple of times over the years because he has a very interesting job. He is an exotic plant merchant. Now, who would have thought that would be such a dangerous job, but it is, and that's where the problems come in because her father starts to get into some bad deals and he goes into debt and he is on the wrong side with some bad people. So Elodie, to help her family get out of this ruin, she stows away and goes to China to help her father, a guy she barely even knows, find this really mysterious plant that's gonna fix all of their troubles. Now, all that's well and good and adventurous, but there's a problem because Elodie is a woman, and in the 1800s in England, women weren't thought very highly of. They didn't think that they could do much other than stay in the home, and so Elodie is kind of defying the odds, and not only is she forbidden to go on this trip, but she can have some pretty bad consequences because of it. But she does it anyway, and you'll have to find out what happens in The Forbidden Orchid.
This is Falling Over Sideways by Jordan Sonneblick. And if you haven't ever read Jordan Sonneblick, he's the guy that you read when you need a good cry. He wrote Drums, Girls, and Dangerous Pie and Driving at Midnight. I probably got the title wrong. But he's one of my favorite authors. And this is about Claire. And Claire just feels like her life has fallen apart. She's in the 8th grade and she just recently, all her friends got moved up in dance class. She got left behind. The mean girls at school are being super mean to her. Even this stupid boy won't leave her alone. And Claire, is just having, a hard time of it, and her family just doesn't give her any sympathy. Well, something happens one day, and Claire witnesses her father having a stroke in the kitchen, and it really just turns her world upside down and truly freaks her out. Because here's this sweet man who is full of life, and he's having to learn everything from start. And it really does just amazing things to Claire, because she learns about love and family, and she learns some new friendship. And it's a great book, a great heartwarming story, especially if you like a good tearjerker. This is Falling Over Sideways by Jordan Sonneblick.
That sounds really good.
All right, this book, The Key to Extraordinary by Natalie Lloyd, is about a girl who comes from a long line of amazing women. And all of these women have this same amazing experience. When they're about middle school age, they have a prophetic dream. And this dream reveals the amazing thing they're going to do in their life. Every woman in her family has had the dream, except her. She's been waiting and waiting. Finally, the dream comes and makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Now the girl has to figure out what she's going to do all on her own, and there's a lot to deal with. Her family may lose their house that sits on a graveyard, which may mean that she loses her ghost tour business. Life is about to get very difficult. If she doesn't have the dream, what does she have? Find out. Read The Key to Extraordinary by Natalie Lloyd.
So this book is called Heartless by Marissa Meyer. Now this is the same author of the Lunar Chronicle books, if you're familiar with those, but this book is totally different. It's a standalone novel. And so this book is all about a girl named Catherine who's living in Wonderland, and it's the Wonderland that we all know and love from Alice in Wonderland. And she's very popular. Catherine's beautiful, she's wealthy, she's got all of these things ahead of her in life, but she's got aspirations to be the best baker in Wonderland. But that's not really what her parents want to be, and so they're diverting her on a different path. So on the same night that she's supposed to be accepting the king's proposal of marriage, she meets the court jester. Now meeting this court jester throws her whole life into a tailspin, and they start a secret courtship. Now, things are not all they seem in Wonderland, and there's also a dangerous plague of attacks going around the whole Wonderland. And so they have to not only fight for their lives, but fight for their relationship. Can their love stand the test of all of these different challenges? You'll have to see. And you'll have to read the story to find out what happens to make the characters in this book one of the most hated villains in history. And this is called Heartless by Marissa Meyer.
This is Zeros by Scott Westerfeld, Margot Lanigan, and Deborah Bengotti. It's written by 3 authors and 6 protagonists in the story. Ethan Cooper, aka Scam, is a bit of a disaster. His sharp tongue has already burned bridges with his 4 friends. But it's these 4 friends he calls on when he goes to the police station. Now his only carelessness has made him a material witness in a bank robbery, and only the Zeros can rescue him. Ethan, you see, has a secret power. It's called the Voice. The Voice knows things that Ethan himself doesn't, and it says things through his mouth that Ethan has no idea that's going to come out and gets him in really bad situations. The other Zeros have equally strange abilities. Shazara has the ability to crash technology that causes her pain. Nate, who they call Glorious Leader, can charm anyone. Blind Riley can see through others' eyes, and Tebow uses the fact that no one can seem to remember him to his advantage. These 5 plus 1 very unpredictable new addition make up the Zeros. A team split up due to infighting, but get called back together to fight a bad guy and come to terms with their talents and their place in the world. This is the Zeros, and guess what? It has 2 books behind it, and they're already out.
Okay guys, this is a comic book modern version of Jack and the Beanstalk. It's called Mighty Jack by Ben Hatke. Now, Jack is a normal boy. His mom is working 2 jobs in the summer, and so he is supposed to stay home and watch his sister Maddie. His sister Maddie is on the autism spectrum, and she's a mute, which means she never speaks, not even to Jack. So he pays very close attention when, while he's watching her at a flea market, she calls out, "Hey Jack, I want to buy these seeds." Jack goes to the table, sees the seeds. He's got no money. He makes a deal with the guy selling the seeds. He'll take the seeds, and that guy will take his mom's car keys. Yep, totally great trade. He gets in trouble with his mom, but his sister's happy. She's got the seeds. She plants them, amazing things grow. And I don't mean they're amazing and green. I mean they're magical. I mean, some of them can walk around and got eyeballs and stuff. Some of them, you eat them and you can jump over your house. The magic is awesome, plus Maddie loves it so much. But they have to decide, is the magic worth it? And pretty soon the obvious answer is, well, I don't think so. Because one day, when he goes to check on his sister Maddie in the garden, he realizes the garden has taken Maddie somewhere else, and another journey begins. This is going to be first in a series. Make sure you get it from the beginning. It's called Mighty Jack by Ben Hatke.
All right.
Okay, so this book is called The Dark Days Club by Alison Goodman, and it's all about Lady Helen Rexall in England in the 1800s. And so Lady Helen is of age to come out to society. She's meeting the queen. Everybody thinks that she might get proposed to and get married soon, despite her objections to the whole thing, but it's time for her to make her place in society. And she has a big responsibility to her family because she's trying to make a good reputation for the rest of her family by marrying somebody wealthy and of good name, but really she couldn't care less about any of that. So while all of this stuff is going on in her life that she doesn't really care about, she also finds out that her family has got a past. And it's a lot of things about her family that she didn't even know existed. And so not only is that a surprise to her, but she also finds out that she has inherited some special powers. Now these powers are very interesting because it makes her part of the Dark Days Club, obviously, hence the title. And the Dark Days Club is a group of people who protect humans from demons. Yeah, demons. So things get weird for Lady Helen, so you'll have to figure out how she gets inducted into the Dark Days Club when you read the book. And there's also a sequel coming out in 2017, so check it out.
This is The Crown's Game by Evelyn Skye. In an alternative Russia, there's a czar that desperately needs 2 imperial enchanters. And there are 2 possible candidates, Vika and Nikolai. Despite their instant attraction, they are doomed to obey a tradition and compete in the Crown's Game. The winner will obtain imaginable power, but the loser instantly dies. Nikolai also almost kills Vika with a puppet show, and then Vika in return outbests him with an amazing lightning display. The ambition soon turns to attraction, but Russia still calls, and there is no getting around the rules of the Crown's Game. Dun dun dun!
You love it!
All right, I know you know who Gordon Corman is, but did you know he had a pretty new book called Slacker out? Yes, it's the one with the beautiful beaver on the cover. This is about a boy so into video games that he does not even realize his house is burning down around him while he's playing, until the firemen axe through his door. Exactly. Now he gets in big trouble with the parents, but they don't make him give up video games. Instead, they make a deal. You do something important, and we'll let you keep the video games. So he does something important. He creates a fake school club, and he makes himself president. He and his friends hack into the school website, they put the club up there, there's his picture, everything is cool, until someone finds out about it. Not that it's fake, but that there's a club. And then another person, and then another. And then the assistant principal, and then the guidance counselor. And pretty soon there's 700 kids a member of the fake club. And they're not just members of the fake club, they're doing stuff in the fake club's name. They're out helping old people. They're out trying to save a beaver who has lost his home. Now this boy's to figure out, what should I do? Should I come clean? Or should I give up some of my slacker video game ways and see what's really gonna happen if I join this club that I created? Find out with Slacker by Gordon Corman.
All right, you guys, thanks for watching.
Yes, and don't forget to go to your library and purchase some of these awesome books from your school book sale.
Where's Katie Jane?
Where's Kitty Jane? Oh my gosh.
She gave me all these books. She had to go, but I'm really excited about them.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, you can take these
You
two.
can take these two.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
Bye, see you later.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.